I'm making plays. I'm making hits. I'm making hits. I'm making plays. I'm making plays. I never miss. I never miss. Haters gon' hate. Yeah, they gon' hate. But look at the clips. Just look at the clips. At the end of the day, I was made for this shit. Dog, I was made for this shit. Nothing but green grass in my view. Hit him for 50 yards up the middle. All of my rushes are ready to move. Tell your quarterback, head on the swivel. Came all this way, so we hungry as hell. If we ain't winning, we ain't leaving the field. Overtime, now the shit getting real. Double overtime, shoot for the kill. I put it all on my shoulders. Give 100 till it's over. All of this ice in my veins, tell me, how could there be anyone colder?
Yo, what is good, Chiefs Kingdom? We are back. The Arrowhead PM Crew is back, man. Off a big victory. AFC
Division
West
champs, where you
champs
at, baby?
again, 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 and again. For the
Stupid.
ninth time, your Kansas City Chiefs are the AFC West champions. They have been running this division for damn near a decade now. Patrick Mahomes rolls into town and he doesn't know anything but winning the AFC West at this point. We always, man, we are brought to you by Chiefs Kingdom. We're powered by Chiefs Kingdom. You can find our podcast on Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you can find podcasts really the day after. And of course on YouTube, Facebook, things of that nature. Follow us on Twitter, Arrowhead AM and PM. I am your host, DG. I got my guy, my film analyst in the building. Corey's in the building. I got my other guy, Trizzy. I got my guy Ethan in the building as well with me tonight, man. Guys,
Boy
we
looking
here,
like
man. It's
James Bond tonight.
12-1. Coming off a big victory against the Chargers. How's it feel to be AFC West champions for the ninth year in a row?
I mean, in a few more years where we're doing these shows, you have to be counting some of them on your toes.
Hopefully, hopefully, yeah. The second was this the longest active streak since the Patriots did it 11 times in a row with Tom Brady. To me, it's a feat that it's a dynastic feat, man. Like to run a division for damn near a decade now is crazy. So, uh, congratulations to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey and all those guys in the building, Brave Veach, all of them, for the continued work that they've been doing over this time to maintain that success is not easy at all. So, but of course, what better way to get it than over a very sweet victory over your division rivals in the Chargers? The LA Chargers come riding into town and unfortunately walk out of town with an L and division loss, man. How did we feeling, man, about Chiefs and Chargers? Trizzy, what's your initial thoughts on the game, man?
Yeah, I mean, just starting off, what you bringing up, first of all, shout out to everybody that's with us tonight that's going to be joining us later on, man. We appreciate y'all. Hope y'all, nice, warm, comfy, and cozy at the crib. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Shout out to Kingdom Cast. Shout out to Kingdom Queens. Shout out to all the chief platforms out there. Make sure y'all tap in some good people with some good information to give y'all. Tell the truth. Everybody, shout out to everybody, the part of Chiefs Kingdom. Appreciate y'all tapped in. Non-straight division titles, DG, Ethan, Corey when he comes back. I mean, it just again it speaks to the dynastic mindset that the team has put on display for the last 9 years. Not with just them winning the division, but them proving themselves in January and February, which is a difficult task to do for any organization to do one time. But for those guys to stuff goes low, stuff goes high. Season don't go this way, season don't go that way. You lose 30% of your offense, arguably one of the best young and upcoming receivers in Rasheed Rice and one of the young exciting talents in Isaiah Pacheco, a seventh round guy. So you lose all of those guys. Left tackle is inconsistent. You have to bring in some reinforcements on offense and teach them the script Because again, the plan that you had coming out of training camp is just different, right? And this is the time, where that championship DNA matters, when it's a divisional opponent that got your number and don't really matter about X's and O's. It's about who's gonna go out there and make some plays to win the game. And as ugly as it's been, we've answered the bell every time, and whether the kick was ugly or not, when Patrick Mahomes got the ball, sat back, crack a beer, put it on display. 15. I mean, it's it's a shame that you think this stuff lasts forever because it feel like we just been on a ride. But it's just time to appreciate it, man. It's time to understand that these guys just really have a different mindset. So, it didn't wow me as far as statistics, and it probably won't until we get to the playoffs. But I mean, I think this team is just making that championship DNA. You mixing and maxing your potion and trying to find the right ingredients, and you're getting guys back healthy, and you're still winning football games. So 12-1, division champs. Can't really ask for more, man. It's a testament to Andy Reid, the whole organization, top to bottom, from players to training staff to front office. It's just an exemplary organization.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Corey, what's your initial thoughts on Chiefs Chargers and AFC West time?
I mean, kind of like what Trizzy said. I mean, in the offseason, we lost 2 key pieces on defense. And then Ominahu was still out from last season. You go into the season knowing the offense is going to have to pick it up a little bit, and then you lose your top 2 wide receivers right off the bat. Look at how other teams have handled losing weapons like that. Look at the beginning of the Bengals season without T. Higgins. Look at the 49ers when they lose CMC or when they lost Ayuk. They're just not the same team, and it shows on the field. Somehow, no matter who we lose, we're still winning. So it doesn't matter what we say. It doesn't matter how we critique a game. Like I told my buddy the last game, at this point in the season, there's no point in even watching the first 3 quarters of Chiefs football because it comes down to the last quarter. You can turn on the last quarter and you're going to see all you need to see. So for me, this is going to how it's going to be. You get that bye, you get that number 1 seed, you get the bye week, get the defense some help, and then go into the playoffs with that extra weapon on offense in Hollywood, the defense with a little bit of rest, get their legs underneath them, and I think we're all good.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go to you, Ethan. I know you say you didn't get to see much of the game, but I know you've seen a little bit of the highlights or whatever. What's your initial thoughts on Chiefs Chargers and being an AFC West champion again?
Corey's advice there. I didn't start watching the game really till the 4th quarter. I was busy all day, Sunday. So
you didn't miss anything.
Yeah, no, I didn't miss much. Now I have went back and kind of watched it a little bit, but I mean, Chargers are a good team. We knew what we were walking into, going in there, and so the Chiefs, they handled it. It wasn't pretty at all, but they handled it, and so that's all we can hope for at this point. I mean, we see this from the Chiefs week in and week out. Every week we you kind of know what to expect. It's going to be a nail biter at the end. It's hard to win in the NFL. I mean, hell, look at Eagles. They just barely beat Carolina too. Like,
yeah,
it's not an easy league to win in. So, I give credit to Andy, and one person I do want to give extra credit to is Brett Veach. He has done a phenomenal job this year at
Absolutely
adapting and adjusting to what the circumstance is at the moment. And so bringing in guys like D-Hop, bringing in a guy like DJ Humphries, and hell, even this week, Steven Nelson,
I think that'd be big.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's out there trying to make moves to ensure this three-peat. And, we'll still have fans that are going to hate on him, but at the end of the day, like, he's doing everything he can at this point. So, I mean, you got to tip your hat to him. And, man, I mean, that also goes into the 9-time repeat of the AFC West champions. Like, that whole organization has done phenomenal. We're living in, a rare time.
football heaven.
Yeah, something that a lot of other teams have never experienced, and so our fan bases have experienced. So we're kind of treading new waters at this point as well. So it's definitely an experience, man. I don't take it for granted. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
we like Alabama fans in the Saban era.
Yeah. Man, going into Sunday night, the former before this era Chiefs fan would have been uber nervous about playing in one of these games. Everything on the line, especially against the Chargers. Coming
Yeah.
up as a kid, it was always Phillip Rivers and Antonio
LaDainian,
Gates,
LaDainian
LaDainian
Tomlinson.
Tomlinson,
Oh
and those
my
guys
God, bro.
coming into town and basically dominating you. And you had that little bit of hope that maybe the Chiefs could correct some mistakes and right some wrongs, but
Yeah,
just never
man.
could get it done. But now they're
Exciting
at a
time.
point now where they're rolling, they're dominating this division and continuously keep winning it. Even though it doesn't look perfect at points and times, that was really what that game was really all about on Sunday night. It doesn't have to look perfect, but at the end of the day, you just figure out a way to get another dub. I think that they've really tapped into that mindset at this point in time. You hear Pat say it several times in the press conference. It don't matter about the stats or what we did out there as far as how many touchdowns we scored or how many turnovers we got or whatever. As long as we leave the end of the day with a win. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
it's
want
just it's
and I kind
important.
of wanted to piggyback off that like for a couple seconds. So like I think like what happens when you get a player like Patrick Mahomes, first of all, we haven't had a player. We have great players in this organization that came before Pat, no doubt about it. The list goes on and on. But a player like Patrick Mahomes, we haven't had the presence of gracing him so much to where, we expect that 2018 season where it's 50 touchdowns and 12 interceptions and
Hmm.
going crazy. And, he goes again and does something similar the year after with 45 and, still 46 or something like that. I
Hmm.
think like what people are not understanding about the Chiefs is that they're in that winning aspect to where it's like, you know what? We put the show on. We showed you what it looks like behind the red carpet. We took you on a walk. We took you down the street to Disney World and let you ride the roller coasters. It's time for you to get on the short bus a little bit. It's time for you to sit back in the park and walk up the stream and enjoy the view a little bit. It's time for you to really sit back and understand what's going on here. Winning is going on here. This is not a show anymore. These guys are locked in on a different level, struggles with injuries, different coaches, and I want to say that again. The coaches sticking together has probably been one of the biggest things about this dynasty. We
Yep.
haven't really lost coaches, special teams, defensive coordinator, signing Spags. The worst we've done is replace Matt Nagy, who was already here with Eric Bieniemy, and then brought him back.
Mhm.
So the coaching experience with this team, understanding Andy Reid's offense, understanding Spags' defense, bringing over Joe Cullen, the defensive line coach,
Mhm.
Dave Merritt, we already know what he done to these defensive backs that been in our room. Mooney and Sneed and McDuffie, like these guys have been good. So shout out to the coaching staff and just a top to bottom organization that worked its way from the ground up. And we got to see that. And I think that's why not that we just pop S and try to make it about us all the time, but when you come from a ground up organization and you have a player like Pat and you get a guy like Kelsey in the draft and you keep working him and don't trade him and you keep Chris Jones through these years and don't trade him and then all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes come and it's like wow, like we've had the guys the whole time. We needed a quarterback, and then for it to all gel like that, man, it's a testament to everybody. You can't just give it to the players, can't just give it to the coaches. It starts with the guys in the front office, like a Veach, like a Billy Donovan. All those guys. So it's just a testament to the organization. But Chiefs fans just need to understand we're in our championship era right now. The most important thing right now, securing that one seed and getting our guys healthy.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a great transition for you to speak about the abilities of the front office and what they bring to the table. They can't be out there on the field, but the decisions that you make behind the scenes have proved pivotal, um,
Yeah,
especially during this run and what they've been able to do. And
absolutely.
speaking to being able to go out, as important as it is to get core players, this is important to get reinforcements and bring in guys that fit the culture that
Absolutely.
want to chase a ring, want to come here and want to win. So to speaking to that, we'll go into a guy who debuted his Chiefs debut on Sunday night. DJ Humphries stepped in, played left tackle, started his first game as a Chief. Um, Although there was some bad, there was a lot of good as well too. I
Absolutely.
initially think that he was serviceable. You could clearly tell his veteran presence out there on the field. There were a couple reps where you could tell he's just out of shape and not, hasn't played football in a minute or
Yeah,
whatever.
he played
Sometimes
heavy
got a
snaps
little
too.
overpowered at points and times like that. But all in all, I think that it was a lot better seeing that pocket not be collapsed all the time. Pat not running for his life. There were a couple times where I felt like Pat stepped up into some sacks or
Mm,
whatever that he probably shouldn't have. So,
I agree.
um, speaking of which, man, DJ Humphries, like I said, debuted, came out, played well. What's your initial thoughts on the way DJ Humphries? We'll start with you, Corey.
As expected, there were some times where you could definitely see he was worn out and a little bit of steps slow. But I mean, he hasn't played what 2 seasons now.
Mhm.
But you could tell the technique was there. He has the technique that Wanye lacks. When it comes to hand fighting, he wasn't getting beat in the hand fighting. He was able to step, knock down the arms, and that's the one thing that was killing Wanye was people were able to knock his arms down and run right around him. So the technique is there. Once he gets his legs under him, like somebody said the other day, all he has to be is 50% better than Wanye, and we're okay. And he showed me that it's a step in the right direction. Now it sucks him being out another week because that's less reps he's going to get going into the playoffs. So, and it's going to be kind of interesting to see if he is back in a week for the Texans game. But all in all, I think it's a solid improvement. I think just about every move Beach has done so far over the last few years, bringing these veterans in for playoff pushes, 95% of them have worked, and I think this is another one that will definitely help out.
Yeah. What about you, Trizzy? How'd you feel about Humphrey's performance on Sunday?
Uh, I may be on the little B side here with this. It wasn't good. I don't um know what you guys were watching, but maybe he had some good snaps. But for me, him and Wanye, like it was no different. Patrick Mahomes just wasn't comfortable, and it was a couple times he was stepping up like you said he shouldn't have. Um, Pocket sometimes when he had clean. I would say I ain't gonna say he was terrible. Okay, let me not be that judgmental. Let me step back a little bit, DJ Humphries. Let me think about the whole situation. I'm sorry, DJ Humphries. It's been a while.
No,
But but before the injury though, from what I was understanding, he was the left tackle Jehovah. Okay, he's an all-star guard, all-star tackle. I want to see all-star tackle, all-star guard performance. You understand? But nah, man, seriously though, like nah, I thought he did well. It was times where you can definitely see the burst, like you said, he really wasn't getting beat with his hands. Wanye gets beat with like point two on the clock. I never seen a left tackle get beat faster than Wanye
his
Morris
feet
ever
are
in my
bad.
life, back
His
to
feet are
back ever. So DJ Humphries definitely a step above. Like you said, I think it's the game shape, and then like him going on those long 10, 9 play drives. Like that's a lot of snaps. That's a lot of reps. And then Pat moving, Pat scrambling, he buying time. That's a lot. So,
bad.
he got to get used to that. And I think that was a great game for him. I would have loved to see him against Miles Garrett, some of the better pass rushers, just, in the playoffs, these are some of the guys that we're going to have to face. So it sucks that he's not going to be there this week, but I definitely think going forward that it's a better plan than what we had available at the time. Better than Donovan Smith. I don't want to hear Donovan Smith's name. Um, I think we got our guy. I just think we got to get him healthy and then let him get the reps in, let him get that conditioning in, and I think we'll do a good job with catching him up to speed. So I think we got our guy. It just need time to work.
Yeah, but you in the limited film that you did see, Ethan. What are you? How do you feel about DJ Humphrey's performance on Sunday night?
Yeah, so I mean, Trizzy spoke on it. That was the main thing I wanted to speak on was it's got to be damn near impossible to play tackle in this offense, especially when we're going freaking 10, 11. Like, we got to lead. I don't know this for sure, so, go do your own information research there. But I would imagine that we lead the league in 10 plus play drives,
We do.
and so by a good shot. So
Yeah, I
I so I'm gonna give him a little bit of grace for the mistakes that he had. Like, I obviously, him not playing football for a while, I think that played a big factor into it. And then you're coming into this offense, you're trying to learn the offense, you're trying to have your legs underneath you, basically. And then also, while keeping in mind, hey, Pat Mahomes is back there and he likes to, get outside the pocket quite a bit. So what am I supposed to do here? So, there was a lot going into it. So I'm gonna give him a couple weeks before I say too much on, my opinion about how he's playing. But I mean, man, it's got to be better than what it was. If we can get it there, let's knock down 20% of the pressures, then we're fucking doing awesome. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
watching Y.A. Morris will make you want to crush 2 beers back to back.
yeah, that why his feet are just
And
terrible.
then what,
Man.
what killed me about it was he got replaced and he's on the sideline smiling, laughing it up.
I mean, he came in, especially when Humphreys got hurt. He had to play those 9 snaps, and he still was able to hold his own. But limited capacity, so I'm glad he was able to at least do that.
Took up a little
And
space, still got beat
survive.
fresh
Yeah,
off the
right.
sideline. Got beat. Like I
Uh,
can't make it up. A guy been
It's
playing all
better
game.
better than what we have seen over this season so far.
Well, the
Um,
way I look at it is we've seen them both play, and at this point, his first game back, coming off a 2-year injury, and
That's all
not
right. That
and
Kingsley development is coming. That
his
Panasa war blood is coming. All right.
well, if his floor is Wanye's ceiling, then it's only going to get better.
sheesh, it's
We're gonna be all right, guys. I think we got our guy. Let's give
yeah.
him some time. Let's get him. Let's
Yeah.
get him in the playbook. Let's get him conditioning.
And another thing, I mean, too, is we done no favors by him. I mean, our play calling was atrocious again.
It's horrible.
So,
Not
you know,
running the ball.
yeah.
Third and
Yeah.
half a yard. Why are you throwing a 30-yard pass just to punt on 4th down?
That's
Yeah,
not the first time we did that. We did that
No.
in that game when they tried to hit Worthy and he missed and he was wide open. It's very frustrating.
yeah. There was a couple times in that game on Sunday night where I was just watching, and you know it's just really making me mad because Andy and them just refuse to run the ball on early downs, and I don't understand it, especially with the way that your tackles have been struggling over this season. You would think that you picking up 3-4 yards to make it second and manageable, to make it third and manageable, will obviously help you out a lot more. But they continuously keep trying to play this game where they think that they can, stay in shotgun and drop back 40, 50 something times a game and throw the ball around the yard. And it's just that, you don't have the personnel to do that at this point in time. So I think you kind of have to adapt to what you are. And they move the ball best when they run the ball on early downs and they go to their quick passing game on those third and manageables or whatever, spreading teams out at points in time. So I thought like I said, I thought Humphreys played as best as he could off of the time that he set out. There were a couple reps that were really bad, and
Yeah.
then there were a couple reps where you could clearly tell that veteran presence, that experience that he kind of has over Kingsley and YA shows on the field, and I think it's going to prove very, very pivotal for the Chiefs,
Absolutely.
especially down the stretch as they get to the playoffs. Another reinforcement that's coming, that I feel like is coming soon. The Chiefs are getting a little bit of good news at this point in time and getting a little bit healthy. But a guy that we haven't been able to see in this offense is on the verge of making his return to this point.
I
So
already told. I already
I know,
told y'all. I already told y'all. I already told y'all. I already told y'all. Once Fall come back with Hop, It sucked.
No, that's why I was gonna transition to it. Go ahead and
Well,
speak about Hollywood Brown. real quick.
before we get to Hop, I want to say one more thing about the pass game.
A party in the front, party in the back.
The
Go
one
ahead.
thing I'm still frustrated with is our lack of progression with the deep ball. It's just always just something that's just a little bit off. That throw to D
That's
Hop.
because every time we're throwing it to Worthy. No more of
Well,
that.
even that one to D Hop, Mahomes waited a tad second too long to make that
Nah,
throw.
he dropped that shit.
He did, and even D Hop tell you he's got to catch that. But if
That
Mahomes
was a
throws that a little
dime.
sooner, he's got that tuck before the contact gets there. It was a good
I
play by
know.
the safety, but that is why you brought D Hop in. He makes those catches 95% of the time. But all season long, it's just been something that's just a little bit off, and that deep ball just hasn't hit yet. It's going to hit eventually.
That's a fact.
That's gonna
Talk.
it's gonna hit like 80s when Hollywood come back. That's what people ain't
Go
understand.
ahead and talk about Hollywood, Tracy.
Man, oh man, when we get that boy primetime jet back. So you understand, like, okay, going into training camp when we brought Hollywood on, and then you draft Xavier Worthy. Why? So Xavier Worthy is taking the top off of defenses with Kelsey in the middle. You can't 1-on-1 Kelsey is going to be too high. So you're taking too high. And now, instead of everybody keying in on Kelsey, when before Hop even came along, these two guys are guys I ain't gonna say you call outliers, but Hollywood and Worthy were gonna be pretty damn good outliers, along with Rasheed Rice, who was emerging in the offense. You can't take those targets away because once you start firing deep, now the only person you're looking for is one. Now you're gonna have to double team DeAndre Hopkins in certain situations. That's gonna leave room for us to work those crosses like you've never seen in your life. Okay? Look at my hand when I'm talking. All right. Hollywood is going to be able to win those one-on-one matchups. Who are you putting your number one corner on? Hop. Now you have to key in a good safety on Trav. Now it's no more that too high is not really working the way you want it to no more because these guys are in a box. Now you taking these guys on the outside with Hollywood's gonna be working that slot. He's good on the outside, can win on one, can run the intermediate routes, really good with the ball in his hands as well. Can run down the field. Also a 4-4 guy. No more keying in on Worthy for deep shots. Travis Kelsey, you not on tune with that? Who's gonna stop that over the middle? D Hop? He's gonna win some of those one-on-ones against your 1A. Just the way the cookie's gonna crumble. Don't forget about Check and 2-9 and 3-4. They're gonna eat.
No, and another thing I'll add on to that is, so I was at like 10 different camp events this summer. So I got to watch a lot of the scrimmages, and Mahomes developed a chemistry with him as good as the chemistry was with Rasheed Rice. If you were watching this offense fly around in some of those scrimmages, you'd see Rice for 15 yards, Rice for 8 yards, Hollywood for 12 yards, Hollywood for 60 yards, Rice for 18 yards, Hollywood for 20 yards. Like, Mahomes instantly developed a connection with him, and that's why I'm also big on possibly bringing him back next year, because anybody who watched any of the scrimmages at camp, they develop a chemistry like no other. It's Mahomes is very big on trust. If he doesn't trust you as a receiver, he's not going to target you no matter how open you are. We've seen people running wide open, and Mahomes is like, no. With Hollywood, he trusts it. He'll rip it in there. Like, one thing I noticed we haven't seen this year is a lot of those tight window throws we saw with Rasheed because they had that trust. He knew where Rasheed was going to be right off the line. He knew where he was going to be off of the break. He developed that same chemistry with Hollywood. And what's one way to beat quick pressure? Releasing the ball quick, some of those quick hitters. He'll trust Hollywood with that. He'll get the ball out faster on some of those quick outs, those quick screens. I think, A, it'll help with protection. It'll help opening up Kelsey because at some point, if Hollywood's eating, you got to pull a safety off to help. which will
It's
open
gonna
up
control
Kelsey.
your defense. It's gonna
Yep.
control the defense a lot more too. You're not gonna be able to run certain schemes with certain guys on the field, especially if it's a package where I didn't mean to cut you off, Corey. It's a package with Hollywood, with Hop, with Worthy, and then Kelsey's on the other side, or then Noah Gray's on the other side, in a two tight end set. How are you gonna defend that?
Yeah, like I
It's
said,
just so many options that Hollywood bring back for this offense that's gonna be able for our guys is just finding a lot of mismatches, which I think Andy Reid does a great job of, especially adjustment wise. But when we get Hollywood back, that mismatch pieces, the motions, the small things, that's really gonna knock you off balance.
yeah, it's not just another set of hands coming in as a receiver. It's somebody that's going to unlock other aspects of the game. Worthy deep, Kelsey over the middle, quick hitters to help with the pass rush. He's one of those receivers that will literally unlock 3 to 4 different aspects of this offense.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. That to me, what proves pivotal for Hollywood is the ability to beat man coverage.
Yeah,
One of those things that I think this receiving room, um, I won't say struggles against, but you got some guys in this receiving room that they're not great against man coverage, and I think you adding him back into this room gives you that element of a guy that when you got those crucial third and threes, third and fours, and teams line up press man or whatever. He gives you that threat to beat press man off the line. This is, as well as having a guy like D Hop on the other side. So now it creates, those mismatches that you like. It'll probably give Xavier Worthy more open looks. It'll give DeAndre Hopkins more open looks. It'll give Noah Gray and Travis Kelsey guys more open looks, and it just makes you a lot more difficult to game plan for at this point. So excited to see Hollywood get back out there on the field. Um, I think they're aiming for his return to be the Steelers game on Christmas, I believe. I know a lot of people initially thought that the Texans game might be a chance for him to come back. I know he didn't practice today. There was rumors and talks about him practicing this week, so hopefully he gets cleared at some point in time by his doctors. But he seems like he's, from what I've been seeing on Twitter and on his Twitch and stuff like that, he seems like he's ready to go and healthy and ready to play. So,
And it's not going to be like D Hop where you have to ramp him up in the offense. He had a whole training camp,
yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah,
preseason.
different.
He
yeah,
was ready to go off the rip.
yeah.
Right.
That's the big part. I think him stepping in, he'll already have a familiarity with his playbook. The
That's
playbook was really designed around him and Rasheed, especially coming out of training camp. With especially a lot of the stuff that we heard was, it was going to be mostly, regulated to those guys being out there. So I don't have no worries about him coming in and knowing where to be, or, you know,
he's
um,
gonna be special in the playoffs.
yeah, it's just more about getting those, live reps again with Pat and getting that chemistry back a little bit. But I don't think it'll take them long to get that back together. Ethan, you got any thoughts on Hollywood Brown coming back?
No, I mean, other than the obvious, it just gives us depth. It'll help, kind of alleviate a little bit of the pressure on the tackles a little bit, and being able to have somebody that can get open against, like you said, man coverage, and so I mean, at this point, anything helps when it comes to that. So you're getting back a veteran too that's going to be able to go and kind of help guys like Worthy with their game, and they're going to be able to see what these guys are, what it's taking them to go in and week out, and what they're doing, kind of, I don't know, just pick up on habits there. So, and man, I'm excited. That, and plus, I mean, not to mention, man, we're getting healthy again. That's exciting. Yeah,
Yeah,
this year has been brutal.
right
I
time,
mean, and I cannot remember a year that we've had as many significant injuries.
man.
Um, and
Brutal.
I get it. It's NFL. Everybody gets hurt. You know, it just, it's when it bounces your way, and it bounced our way this year. So
Yeah,
glad to see people starting to get healthy.
yeah. It's kind of crazy to the injuries that they've had, and they're still 12 and sitting here 12-1 and
Yeah.
AFC West champion. So that just speaks to the depth in that locker room, the chemistry in that locker room, the coaching staff, and the game plans that they come up with. It's been incredible, man. Incredible ride, incredible
Absolutely.
journey. Speaking of which, we'll transition to some points in the game that we liked from Sunday night. Um, I've always said it. The Chiefs, to me, they're best, um, especially offensively, when they kind of go up tempo,
Hmm.
and they go to that quick passing game. The drive before halftime, the score, that was my favorite drive of the whole game. I know a lot of people will probably speak about the fourth quarter and them going down and get a field goal or whatever, but I think that was the best drive of the night in my opinion. I think they operated at the best or whatever. So I pulled up a couple clips for you guys or whatever. If you guys want to take a look at some of this. Um, I just think they operate best when they're working in that quick, short, intermediate game. Of course, that's
Yep. I
police.
didn't mean to take over that part, but
You
I
good?
wrote something down about that. I call that last drive of the half. I call that overcoming obstacles.
Hmm.
So I think what was pressing, can you pause it real quick? So what was pressing in that game was obviously, they were able to sit down on a lot of Travis Kelsey and kind of get him underneath. But what was killing us was again, DJ Humphreys knew they were getting pressure from the inside as well. So when you're not getting a lot of time back to get those play actions down the field, instead of buying time, we weren't buying any time at all. We were just making it easier for them to sack. So now going into that, we get the ball back, and then we going into that last drive. That's why having a coach like Andy Reid is really so important because now he understands I'm going in quick, like it's a 2 minute drill, even though it was at that time, he didn't necessarily have to go so quick. But the adjustment though, right? And that's before halftime. Because you'll probably see something like that. Andy Reid's like, hey, if we get a stop, we come out 3 and out, we're gonna go fast tempo, we're gonna go quick tempo, try to get some easy yards. I think Patrick Mahomes, I mean, masterful on this whole drive, using his eyes to take the defenders different ways, controlling the middle of the field and putting the ball exactly where it needs to be, and then getting up and knowing exactly what we're doing next. The point about that is he's so like he's seeing the game through a lens so quickly. I think people are underestimating the the processor that Patrick Mahomes can be, especially in certain situations like this where we've seen him take the ball in situations where it's 2 minutes or when it's 1 minute and 37 and we got a timeout or two and we're trying to get in field goal range or we're trying to score. The adjustment from Andy Reid and then the execution from the offense. I think, yeah, I would have to agree with you. This is my favorite drive because we were still kind of getting our butt kicked a little bit in, but on the line of scrimmage. So it was kind of hard for us to get those plays down the field to get Worthy open like we did last year. I mean, not last year, the first time we played the Chargers, we were able to get a few bombs on them because they weren't really respecting Worthy, right? And then they get, obviously they got Darren James back this game and they got the other right tackle back. But I think just that adjustment from Andy Reid right there, that kind of won us the game right there because that kind of got us on a different caliber and we were able to get some points on the board when we were struggling in the red zone. We haven't really been good down there at all. I know we're like bottom of the league when it comes to red zone efficiency.
Yeah. Corey, what are your thoughts about when they go up tempo and how can it be something that they can continue to be successful with?
I've got kind of mixed feelings on it just because it seems like every time we go up tempo, we get some type of penalty. Either Juwan lines up a little bit wrong, or he jumps a little bit early, or we're not getting set and we get beat. I when we go up tempo, we also go away from the run game a lot. And that's where we get like 7 or 8 passes in a row. I like it when you try to push the ball here and there, but I think that once we get into that up tempo, Andy's got to be able to snap back out of it the next drive and be like, okay, let's slow it back down. And we don't. As we said, I've got mixed feelings on it because we've seen it work, but we've also seen it stall and us have 4 or 5 3-and-outs right in a row trying to pass on those little short passes that don't go anywhere. I think we're still trying to find that combination of being able to run that up tempo and then slow it down when we need to. We're not slowing it down when we need to. And sometimes I don't think we're going up tempo enough when we're finding some of these lulls where we're not scoring for 3 quarters. So I'm kind of back and forth on it, really.
Yeah, it can have its ups and its downs, its pros and
I
cons
don't
to
think
it.
our usage of it is the best, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah. I just feel like at a certain point it does kind of alleviate the pressure off the tackles from time to time. Um, just with how quickly you're able to get the ball out of your hands
Yeah,
a little
Patrick Mahomes
faster.
did it. He did a great job on this play.
Yeah, yeah.
He
This is.
didn't. They didn't use the. So the Chargers were going man to man, but
Mhm.
they were zoning in on the top. Patrick Mahomes did a good job of recognizing that right away. He got into it. No motion. Okay. They playing underneath. They up top. Let's go to Worthy right away. Wait for him to
Mhm.
clear. Good play call. Good concept from Andy. Once
Mhm.
again, using your receiver, using your tight ends to get in the way. Just without causing penalties and good execution by him. And then Worthy was just finding space, and beating a guy to a spot. Not many guys are gonna be able to run with him.
Mhm.
Great recognition from Pat, and then putting the ball where it needs to be in order for him to get up the field. And I think it's a just that right there when you're able to do that with Worthy. I mean, the dangers of him having that ball and turning the corner. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
that stuff underneath, man, is gonna work out a lot for us, especially when Hollywood gets back. Um, you're not gonna be able to really play man to man against us. So I really can't wait for it because stuff like this concept is just gonna be so easy. I mean, it's gonna be so easy to read and digest, especially once that corner bails. Patrick Mahomes already knows he's got Worthy underneath. Corner bail, turning his back, boom, ball
Yeah,
gone. You know,
Another thing to watch off of this is, yeah, I'm surprised we didn't go back to it later. Back up just a second on this.
I got you.
Run that same concept. Have Mahomes look it off and kind of pump like he's going to go to Xavier there. Look at the left side once that linebacker clears. Look at the running back leak out and the
Hmm.
tight end leak it up ahead to block. Dump it off to the running back. Now fast forward a little bit. Now
Hmm.
you've got a blocker there in 2-on-1.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't see that and go back to that.
Hmm.
yeah,
I mean, that
Yeah.
right there, I mean, that's a 40-yard play right there. Especially if you got the linebacker and the safety both biting down like that.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm surprised they didn't go back to that. I mean, that's a big play waiting.
Yeah, I think with Xavier Worthy's speed, especially in these mesh concepts, it's so hard to stop him and cover him for a very long time. The one thing I love about this play is you get guys on this team that that people come down hard on sometimes just because they don't put up the stats and the numbers or whatever. But shout out to Justin Watson, man. He a guy who
he's a
steps in
dog,
his
man.
offense and does his job the right way.
Every
This is
time.
something that we caught on film last night watching on Kingdom Cast or whatever and tell the truth. But to be able to, a lot of guys like to run this route and they end up running into this corner, which creates an OPI.
Right.
But to have a little subtle kind of just get in the way right now, he knows his job is to free up, Xavier Worthy, and does a good job of that. Gets in the way just enough to affect this corner, and then shout out to 15 man for having the awareness to hold this ball for a little bit,
Mhm.
allow that concept to work in his favor, and then just the flick of the wrist type throw,
Yeah.
man, that a lot of quarterbacks in this league just can't make at
Tongue
this
out
point.
like Jordan, man. That boy
Yeah,
is special, man. I'm trying to tell you, man.
yeah.
I ain't
Crucial
listening to
third
that
down
Patrick
play,
Mahomes.
man. It's like it's got to be so annoying to face a quarterback like that can make these type of plays, man. Um,
Yeah, he's different,
I
man.
think this was one of DJ's not so good reps. Khalil Mack just kind of beats him across the face and then kind of shoves him down to the
Good
ground
boy.
or whatever. But I know facing your first game back and facing a
Khalil Mack.
potential Hall of Famer in Khalil Mack, not an easy task to go out there. Did give Mahomes a little bit of time, at least falling into the way of Khalil Mack,
Mhm.
allowing that little window to come open.
Yeah.
and then Xavier just doing the rest with his feet, man, with his speed. So, yeah, when they get into these quicker concepts, I felt like for this game it helped out a lot just because of how your tackles are struggling up until this point. And it creates, it can create some explosive plays if if you call the right play at points and times. But you know, the other player here, I think this is what's this? This is 2nd and 3. Getting the ball out quick again. Noah Gray has really shined in this
Yes. Shout
offense.
out to Noah Gray, man. That
You
boy been
know,
balling, man.
he's been coming to life. Let's talk about him for a little bit, man. What have y'all been seeing from Noah?
Um, well, I'll let Ethan take that real quick, before I
Yeah, what
jump
about
in.
you? How you feel about
Yeah,
Noah
I
Gray?
mean, just the usage of him. I feel like he was doing this a little, for the most part last year as well. We didn't use him, and this year, I don't know if it's just they've developed that trust more. He got that second, his first, I guess, main contract. And I don't know what clicked with them and why they started doing this, but just being able to have him, and I think a lot of it too kind of comes down to keeping you know, the usage off of Kelsey as much as possible. And so naturally, if we've always been a tight end first team more or less in the passing game. So I think he's getting a lot of what Kelsey is typically running, and he's done well at converting on it, and making the most of every opportunity he gets. And so Noah Gray is somebody that he's not talked about much in Chiefs Kingdom, but kind of like what you said with Watson. I mean, he's just a dog. Like he goes to work, does his job, and doesn't say much. So I mean, man, the growth from his first year here is
Mhm.
phenomenal. He developed into a hell of a tight end too. Can he
Absolutely.
fill that tight end one role eventually? I don't know. I mean, that's yet to be determined. But so far, he showed that he can definitely make an impact in the games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, for sure.
Um, I would say, I think watching Noah Gray, he's kind of turned into that hybrid tight end receiverish type of guy to where even though he's always been solid doing his job blocking, really good with mirroring blocks, making it look like he's running a route to take you somewhere, very good at understanding defenses. Seems like he's the one that's baby Kelsey after all. That they were telling me that was Jared Wiley. We'll talk about that another day. Uh, I think Noah Gray is doing an excellent job of taking advantage of his opportunities, and he's done that throughout his career. And I think that's why we seen Veach give him that contract before that Baltimore game, is because what they seen on film is very definitely translating. He's understanding space well. He catches every pass. He's a yard after catch guy. Understands the defense. Understands how to get open. Hard nosed player, doesn't miss games, and comes in and puts his head down and goes to work. Does everything for the betterment of the team, and he's becoming a smooth operator in space. Man, he's really becoming an issue. I think he's one of the more emerging tight ends in the game today. He may not be talked about that much because he's in the room with Travis Kelsey, but this kid has done nothing but showing you consistency. He's been consistent from the time he's been drafted till now. I really thought he took a leap last year, but this year he's showing me that was just a little bit of what he can do because he's really been special.
Mhm.
Happy to have.
Yeah, I think this play is kind of imperative of what he's been able to learn from Travis Kelsey over the years, and having that development. You see the kind of wiggle at the top of the routes, and then being able to kind of make a move to make a guy miss and get
That
out on
was nasty.
open
I'm not
space.
gonna lie.
Yeah, it's that this drive was definitely a Noah Gray and Travis Kelsey drive. So
You
just
know
getting
who
the
he's
ball
start?
out quick.
You know who he's starting to remind me of?
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Somebody I wanted the Chiefs to bring in the last couple times. He was a free agent. I always said he'd be great behind Kelsey. He's starting to remind me a little bit of Hunter Henry.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, way he runs routes. Yeah. We'll move on to the touchdowns as we finish this drive out. Man, DeAndre Hopkins, man, his veteran presence in this offense has really shined, and I think it's really helped Pat play a lot better over these last couple weeks. We've seen the turnovers kind of go down. We've seen the touchdowns kind of go up, and this I think this play is indicative of that and shows why DeAndre Hopkins is so important to this stretch run and important to this offense, especially in the red zone area. Just the little subtle patience of being able to get into this route and then find the soft spot in the zone, and then just doing the rest from there. You know, proves pivotal to this offense, man. It's gonna be real dangerous, especially coming around playoff time when his snap usage goes up a lot more. But Ethan, talk to me how you been feeling about DeAndre Hopkins and the role that he's developing into this offense so far.
I mean, it's one of those things. I don't feel like we've used him to, I guess, what my expectations were originally. I mean, I know he's older and stuff and trying to learn the playbook and everything, but I thought we'd honestly use him a little bit more. But I mean, he obviously, he's somebody that is a dependable receiver. He's going to catch everything that's thrown at him. Route running is elite. Just he's what we have needed in this offense for the past couple seasons. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, we should have went out and got him. That's a different story for a different day. But man, I'm just excited that he's here. Come playoff time, his usage, I would imagine, would go up quite a bit. So, and then once we get Hollywood in here, that's another big thing too, is adding Hollywood into this, receiving room is going to open up so much more for him, Worthy, and Kelsey and Gray and all those
Mm-hmm.
guys. So, having a guy like Hopkins to be able to win in those one-on-one matchups, and and he's just intelligent. He knows, when it's zone, he can read the defense. He gets in there and he sits down in the soft spots where there's no defenders. Stuff like that. It just takes time to develop and learn. And so, I mean, not to mention what it's doing for Worthy's game. I mean, we may not see a whole lot of it at the moment, but eventually, like, it's going to help down the long run. So, I mean, man,
Yeah.
I'm excited to have him. And I think, like I said, I think his usage will go up towards playoff time. I hope it does anyway. So,
Yeah, for sure.
So one thing, bring that picture back up.
Hold on.
Not only is this veteran route running, but this is veteran chemistry between him and Mahomes. Mahomes knowing that he's going to sit there. Back it up just a little bit.
Yeah, give me a sec. Hold on. You want the sideline view?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's several different layers to this.
Yeah. It's a very good. It's a good play call. I feel like, especially in the red zone area, I think it's been one of Andy's better play calls in the red zone area.
So start it and then pause it as soon as he makes the cut. A little bit further, right there. So if he flattens it out too much to avoid that safety, he runs into the linebacker, and the linebacker right there can jump that route. If he doesn't sit down and keeps running, that safety is going to light him up or undercut that route. And the fact that Mahomes knew that he was going to sit down, look at where Mahomes releases the ball. Right as he's sitting down right there. So he has to know that D-Hop's going to sit down. If D-Hop keeps running right there, that's picked off by the cornerback behind him. If he leads him right there, D-Hop stops and throws it to the safety. So that's not just on D-Hop. That's a great read by Mahomes and D-Hop together on the same page. Mahomes knowing that D-Hop is going to sit right there, and D-Hop knowing to sit right there. That's one thing that I think that we've seen a lot this season is receivers get out of position by overrunning routes. This is a perfect example of veteran to veteran chemistry right here. Mahomes knows he's going to sit down right there. and D Hop knows to sit down before he gets to that safety, and that Mahomes is going to hit him right there. That's just
Yeah.
a perfect read between quarterback and receiver. And honestly, that's what that veteran receivers love that, because that saves D Hop. Another 2 steps. I think is that Derwin James back there.
I don't know if it's Derwin. Is it Derwin? I don't know who that is.
Now, who's number 20?
Because I think this is Derwin up here.
Who's
Yeah,
number
this
20?
is Derwin.
But number 20 is about to light him up right there if he keeps
This is
running.
Cam Hart. 20 is Cam Hart.
Yeah, he's about to light D Hop up if he takes another step. Look at him.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, that's how you save receivers too, and that's just perfect chemistry, and that shows you just in 3 weeks how much chemistry they have. That Mahomes knows when he's going to sit down, and he knows where to sit down exactly at, and that ball's there as soon as he turns around.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I said I think this is one of the better red zone play calls that they've made this year. They just to me, I think it's when they're at their best. Obviously, you get the indicator from Isaiah Pacheco with the motion. Nobody follows him, so now you see it's zone or whatever. That gives you a clear clue, context of where you can go with this ball. And I think you got plethora of options to this point. I mean, D Hop is open. Kelsey's starting to come open as well. You get Xavier kind of running this crosser, I believe, in the middle, and you got 2 guys. I don't know if you guys see this, but how far that linebacker is, and I mean the pocket was still good. So if this isn't open, you could hit Trav right here over the middle. I mean, and he's probably, if he's not scoring, he's at least down at the 1 or 2 yard line for you to punch it in. But I just think it's a great red zone play call for Andy and them, just to get an easy touchdown on the board before halftime. Yeah, true, Don. Once Hollywood comes back, it's gonna make this offense a lot more dangerous. But we'll flip to the other side of the ball, man. The defensive side of the ball. Coming into this game, I know a lot of people had some question marks about the defense. I know it hasn't, the last couple of weeks hasn't been their slew of best performances or whatever. I personally feel like the defense was, if I had to grade them, probably a B plus to me. They weren't great, but they weren't the reason you would have probably lost this game or anything like that. I thought they did what they could do. I think that Vlad McConkey being out proved a big part for them in this matchup. But I still think that even with him being in, they still would have been able to take care of that with putting Trent McDuffie on him and probably having him follow him. But I thought the secondary held up as best as they could. Held up, to me, in my opinion, pretty well. Again, though, the pass rush um, from time to time still a little bit lackluster at points. Although they did end up getting 3 sacks, there were
My
some points.
dog Turk.
Yeah, shout out to Turk for 2 sacks, man. But there were points in times where you could see the struggles still kind of happening. I don't think that they're getting the best pressure from the edge position at this point in time. Mike Dana's still trying to work back from an injury. George Karlaftis, not really sure what's going on there at this point in time, but not being able to get off his blocks at points and apply a little bit of pressure from that edge position, which I think would prove big for them if he can be able to do that. What are y'all initial thoughts on this defensive line moving forward, and how can they improve? We'll go to you, Trizzy.
Um, I think it's a plethora of things. I'm not sure if it's just the one thing you can really point to. I do think going forward, especially if we're going to talk about the guys not getting sacked. So the sack numbers are down from last year. It's a huge difference from this time around. We probably were around 30 to 45 sacks. I think we finished the year with almost 70 sacks. And then we get to a point to where we're not getting that same efficiency, at least sack number wise. We're still pressuring the quarterback per se, but we're not really getting home. So for me, I feel like the struggles come again when you don't have the guys, not necessarily I ain't gonna say don't have the guys. You get injuries to guys like Watson who was playing very well at the beginning of the season. You start to plug in new guys. Defenses are able to take, kind of key to that, getting the ball out quicker, attacking certain guys, right? You're not going to get to the quarterback if the quarterback is getting the ball out of his hands. That's one. And then two, I think teams have tried to find success in running the ball because we've been so worried about the pass. We haven't been really run oriented as much as possible. And I think teams are just trying to take advantage of the fact that we have injuries in the secondary. I think the defensive line struggles just come from again Charles Omenihu, who's been gone. He's one of our more better pass rushers. Mike Dana has
Mhm.
been okay, but he's not on Charles Omenihu's level. He can't really win all those one-on-ones, especially against bigger left tackles. You can slide Charles Omenihu inside. He's way more versatile. He's a bigger body. He's a bigger frame, longer arms, quicker feet. And then you're able to prepare him with Trayshawn Wharton, who's been playing well this season. Obviously, we know what Chris Jones brings to the table. That gives more winnable situations for Joe Cullen to do some stunts and for George Kalafdis to come around off the edge. Not being able to have the guys get to the quarterback is making it seem like one, the quarterback is getting his ball out of his hands quicker. But it was times like you said during the Chargers game where the pass rush was just like he could fry some chicken back there. I mean, it was
Yeah.
night and day.
Make it
I'm
quick.
like, where's the
Yeah.
struggle at? Where's the? I don't see
Mhm.
anything. I just see niggas getting where we at. So
Right.
it was very frustrating to watch. Like you said, even though we did get 3 sacks, some of those were blitzes, some of those we had to bring some extra guys in, and disguise here, disguise there. Sometimes I would just love to see us play some straight up fu football, man to man, me in your mouth. I'll beat your guy.
Mhm.
Go sack him. Go celebrate with the dogs. There was none of that. I just, for the first half, I thought Spags was excellent. The second half, when the offense is not capitalizing and not scoring points, that's what starts to happen. Guys get tired, start to give up long plays, start to give up touchdowns. I don't think that it
Mhm.
was a crazy miss or performance or like I'm not just gonna being harsh on the guys. I just don't think that we seen these injuries coming with Jalen Watson and having Charles Omenihu just now coming back and he's getting his feet wet in week 13 when we had him last year in week 7. So some of those things coming into factor as well. So not having our guys all together is the thing. They need to be together. Charles who's back, so he's going to be in those snaps, going to get those reps together. Joe Cullen and Spags is going to talk about how they can use these guys effectively. Obviously, Josh Uche, the trade pick that we got as well. I think they'll be able to figure it out. But for now, I think the guys aren't healthy and they're still trying to get on the same accord, along with the secondary struggling. It's just not a pretty picture at the
Yeah. What about you, Corey? How can this defensive line improve and go forward?
Uh, Defensive line, I think just Omenihu coming back and having more rotational pieces to where people can get a little bit of a break on the D line now, especially if we can find a way to work in Boucher towards the playoffs and just having that rotation so people aren't getting 100% of snaps. I think that'll be a big thing. But to me, there's something that's a little more worrisome than the pressure from the D line to me. And that is the Harbaugh brothers watch each other very well. And he replicated what his brother in Baltimore did and the way they were able to beat us on big plays by bringing in a second tight end, that backup tight end blocking 6, 7, 8 snaps in a row. And then when you need a big play, hey, leak out. Nobody's going to watch you. We
Yeah.
watched Baltimore do that with Isaiah Likely and about took that game with those plays. And
Mhm.
the Chargers kind of did the same thing there at the end. They were putting, what's his name, Strange, lining him up there on the edge, acting like he was
Oh,
blocked.
yeah. What
And
was it,
Yeah,
Smart or
Ravens.
whatever?
The Ravens don't have a defense like the Chargers. I'm sorry.
No, that's true. But at the same time, offensively, I think that they present a
well, I'm
challenge.
talking about just the concept of putting a second
Yeah,
tight
we've been. Yeah,
And
we've
having
been getting filled on that all year. The Cincinnati Bengals was killing us with that shit.
Them too.
So I
and like
mean, the
it's
Carolina Panthers was doing it to us. Everybody has been eating on us with
yeah.
that release.
Besides pressure, I think that's kind of the one thing that's been a consistent that we haven't been able to fix yet. And
Mhm.
is there was a problem in week one, and it was a problem last week too. And it's just that backup tight end lining up on the edge of the line and leaking out, and nobody's paying attention to him, and he's just running free.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been rough, man. Especially for this defensive line. Ethan, who do you feel on this defensive line? One guy on this defensive line you feel could step up and really be able to help this team, especially down the stretch.
I'd have probably go Dana, man. I mean, last year, he had a career year. I think we banked on that a little bit too much, and this
Mhm.
year he just hasn't quite lived up to what he was capable of last year. And then, I mean, FAU is another one. I
Yeah,
know that we got a lot of Homer fans for FAU, but
right.
I'm one of the main people that'll tell you like be patient with these guys. But I mean, we are almost done with year two. Like you
Mhm.
got to start showing something. And so those are really my two main guys, man. I mean, Chris, I don't blame anything on him. He's getting held every other freaking play, getting double,
Or
triple teamed.
double
So
team. Yeah,
yeah, and
triple
so
team.
I,
Quadruple
you know,
team.
so, and George. I mean, obviously, I want to see more out of him too. He hasn't lived up quite to what the expectations were for him either. So I mean, I think there's kind of a little bit of a share of blame across that D line. And when when you're not getting home with your front four, it's tough on those back end guys.
Yeah.
And so everybody riding these DBs all year, and I'm over here like, man, like if we're not getting home, what the fuck do you want them to do? I mean, pardon my language there, but
Mhm.
it just ain't pretty. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think for this team, Charles Amini, who coming back, has been a big piece as far as them being able to kind of collapse the pocket a little bit better. His versatility provides a lot when they can switch him into the inside, and then also switch him to the edge as well too at points in times. I think it provides a lot for them. Um, Creates mismatches, gives Chris Jones one on ones at points in times. But I still feel like Mike Dana and George Karlaftis, they got to do a better job of winning their one-on-one matchups. There was a lot of times Sunday night where they were just, and obviously, I mean, they were facing a pretty good tackle group in Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt. I think those guys are probably going to be one of the better tackle duos in the league for the foreseeable future. But there was a lot of times where Mike Dana and George Karlaftis were just stonewalled and not really applying a lot of pressure. Like Trizzy said, there was that play I think in the red zone. I mean, Justin Herbert could have sat back there and baked a cake, took his dog for a walk, and came back and still threw a touchdown. So definitely got to ramp up a lot more pressure, especially without blitzing. One thing I do appreciate from this game is I do think that Spags kind of dialed back on blitzing in this game, and I kind of think it helped a little bit more, especially with that secondary, not putting them in certain pressure moments where they have to try to rise to the occasion and being left on an island, especially when you're sending an extra man. God, I feel like that really struggled was Shamari Connor, especially in that slot role. I know it's a lot to ask for a guy who's typically probably used to playing safety to step into that nickel slot role and try to guard some more of the twitchier receivers in this league. And I think that's a huge reason of why Steven Nelson was brought to this team. And I think that once he gets that ramp up period and gets his feet back underneath him, that they can allow him to put him to the outside, bring McDuffie back into the slot at points in times, and also have Josh a role of either Josh Williams or Nazi Johnson, one of those guys playing on the outside as well too. I think if they can get Trent back, if they can get Trent and Shamari back into their normal roles, I think this defense, sky's the limit for them. Especially when Shamari can get back to kind of playing that robber safety role, which I really think he thrives in, being able to play in that. So, and then we all seen what Trent McDuffie has been able to do from the slot corner position. He's an All Pro. When he's there, he's literally your best cornerback on the team at this point, and one of the best in the league. So, hopefully they can be able to get that all fixed out. The pass rush, of course, has to be present as well for that to work. It all works hand in hand. So hopefully there's an improvement as they're going on. But I do think from last week against the Raiders to this week, there was some improvement and they played a lot better this week, a lot more cleaner game, I feel like, in my opinion. But last week is last week, and this week is this week. And the Chiefs have a new opponent going on the road to play the Cleveland Browns, going to the Dog Pound in that stadium off the lake. Going to be a very, very tough environment to walk into. Browns are not your typical 3-10 team, although they've played very competitive up until this point. They're going to want to come out here and get a win. So, in your opinion, what are the keys to victory against the Cleveland Brownies? We'll start with you, Trizzy.
I think we have to force some turnovers. I think they have a tough defense. I think obviously the trouble that Myles Garrett presents. I think they have some of the better cornerback duo and safety duo in the league with those guys. Even their linebackers, to me, I think they're one of the better defenses. On the outside, I mean, those two corners are really good. Even the safety. You got Greg Delpit. Who's the other guy? There's so many. Jimmy Ward. Who is that on the outside? 21.
Denzel Ward.
Denzel Ward.
Yeah,
That kid
good
is
guy.
special. Like this kid is probably one of the best in the game right now. So a big test for us. Huge test for us. We usually play well against good defenses like this. So I think it's a good chance just to see where we are, get some execution on the field. Is definitely going to be one of those tougher games. I'm interested to see the game plan around definitely trying to take care of number 95, Myles Garrett, one of
Woo.
the more dynamic defensive ends in this game.
Good luck.
It's gonna be interesting to see how Andy Reid try to combat kind of dealing with him all game, and then the his presence alone is just enough, to scare a the offensive coordinator, you know, waking up in night sweats. So I'm not sure how we're gonna try to block this guy. But we better have a damn plan, or it's going to be a damn long game. I do think that if we can settle in and run the ball and get that pass rush kind of guessing a little bit, then I think that we will probably be kicking butt in Cleveland. And I do think that they waited a little bit for that first touchdown pass because Travis Kelce hadn't played football in Cleveland in a long time, and he's probably going to break the record in Cleveland.
Yeah, Corey, we'll go to you. How the hell does this team stop number 95, Myles Garrett?
Quick passes, chipping off the edge, rolling out away from what side he's on. This is one game where we're really going to miss Jet McKinnon and even Blake Bell. Just having that person that we can have in the backfield that we know that is.
Maj's been coming on strong though.
Who has?
Yeah. She's saying P. Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can have to play that role for us.
But like I said, I think it's going to be quick passes. You got to get the ball out of your hands. You can't hold it. Not only is Garrett great about breaking pressure and getting sacks, but he is great about stripping the ball. And Mahomes hasn't always been the best at keeping the ball secure in the pocket. And you cannot lose a turnover battle to them. The one thing they've been doing, they've been putting up yards. They've been putting up points. But you got to win the turnover battle because Winston's going to give you some chances to get the ball back, whether it be a fumble or a pick six. Against a team like Cleveland that has a really good defense, and the situation they're in, you've got to win the turnover battle. You've got to take advantage of every chance that Winston gives you to pick off a ball. And you can't let Myles Garrett run the game. So you got to get rid of the ball quick to take him out of the game.
Yeah. Ethan, what about you? What's some keys to victory in your opinion?
Uh, so, I mean, obviously, we've seen what Jameis and them have been doing over the past couple weeks. Like they've been balling. Obviously they haven't been winning these games, but they've been in every game. So I one of the things I do want to see us do is slow down Njoku because
Mhm.
I mean we know how we've been against the tight ends. Yeah, that's going to be one of my main things.
Yeah.
For a defense to kind of focus in on and kind of try to figure out a way to slow him down. And so that's probably the main one. And then I mean obviously the Garrett too. We know what that is. Corey spoke perfectly to it. About game plan execution and and I think just running the ball. It, golly, man, we just have got away from it, and it drives me up the wall. I don't understand it. Pacheco comes back, and we're like, no, we're gonna start throwing it 60 times a game.
Yeah.
Seems like a good game plan. So, that's the biggest thing for our offense is play calling has got to be better. We got to be smarter about how we're approaching situations. Help our tackles out. With play calling, help our tackles out with making sure that we're sending help to them, and and all that stuff. So, man, I mean, at the end of the day, we all know that we're going to be in a dogfight with these guys. Like
Yeah.
it is what it is. You come to expect it, and so just want to see us close out the game. If we can close out the game, show improvement there, then man, I'll be freaking ecstatic.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think they have to do everything in their power to make sure that 95 doesn't wreck this game for them. And that's literally what he's been doing all year. He's the reason why he's a defensive player of the year candidate every year in and year out. The things that he can just do in the one-on-one matchups, and I don't know why anybody would ever leave him one-on-one with a tackle or anything like that because he's just so powerful. But then also has that speed to bend the corner and get around the edge and make things happen. And then, like Corey spoke to, he's so good at getting the ball out, creating turnovers for them. So it's going to be really a point of emphasis for them to make sure they know at all times where 95 is. And I also kind of think this is one of those games where I honestly would tell Pat, hey, if there's a point where you see, hey, one of our tackles is getting beat, just go down or dirt the ball. You would do whatever you can to protect the rock at this point.
Take that. Don't take
Yeah,
that.
don't create negative plays for us. Don't try to extend it or whatever. Because it's gonna be one of them things where it's this guy's a guy that's virtually impossible to stop. Man, I don't, you got to put him up there with the T.J. Watts of the world. I think that's probably the only player in this league that can come remotely close to what he is. So this is probably a good test for this Chiefs team because they will be seeing T.J. Watt later on in the year, Christmas Day. So maybe this is a good opportunity for us to go up there and prove, we can play against elite pass rushers like this. So I fully expect Andy and Nagy to have a plan going into this game of being able to not necessarily stop, but contain and limit what Myles Garrett can do. Because it's like I said, it's going to be virtually impossible to stop. Him. I would fully expect him to still be able to do some things, especially the way with this line is played. But at the same time, if you can limit it down and cut it down, I think you can walk out of this stadium with a victory and another win and get into 13-1. So yeah, hopefully that happens. We'll go to what are y'all score predictions going into this week?
Hmm. I say I do think that Miles Garrett is obviously going to put his print in the game at some point. Hopefully, we can dirt the ball and get rid of it when he does that. But the other guys are going to have to show me. So I don't think that Andy Reid is going to let him dominate this game at all. Sure, I think he'll make a play here, play there, but
Mhm.
um, I don't think that. I'm gonna just be honest. I mean, I know Winston's been playing okay, and our defense has been struggling a little bit. I think this is one of those get right games for the defense. I say 24-13 Chiefs.
Okay. What about you, Ethan?
Let me go 30-21 Chiefs.
I heard 30s.
Yeah, I
I
think
heard
we
30s.
kind of get over that little hump there, late in the fourth quarter and seal the game. So
See that?
All right. What about you, Corey? What you got for me?
I will go 27 to 27-20.
27. Okay. Yeah. Um, I think this game. I think the Chiefs. I do think they'll still be able to move the ball pretty effectively. I think if
I
they
do too.
stick to running the ball, especially on early downs, I think that'll help out a lot with the pass rush and helping contain Miles Garrett a little bit. I'll say. I think I said 22-17. So last night, so I'll stick to that. 22-17. I don't expect it to be a ton of points, but I expect us to go up there and do what we need to do in order to pull out a win and come out victorious. So hopefully the Chiefs go up there and execute. I know the weather is supposed to be a little bit sloppy up there, but that's always a foregone conclusion when you're going to Cleveland in the middle of December
Man, it's
to play
gonna be
off one of those lakes, man. So yeah, tough environment, man. But I think this team is built for it. They can play. I feel like they can play anywhere, on the moon, on the stars and Jupiter, wherever you want them to play.
on the
I think that they
traffic.
can.
It don't matter.
Don't matter, where they play. Rolling into, man, we finally here, man. Week 15. Week 15 slate is out. We are 15 weeks into the NFL season, fellas. It is almost over. It felt like we just got started not too long
Crazy,
ago. But
crazy.
looking at this slate, man, this slate is pretty good. Some pretty good
Pretty
games out here. Tomorrow
good.
night, obviously Niners and Rams square off against each other. Niners coming to this game still, with a little bit of playoff hopes left.
So
Desperate
with the
team.
Rams too.
Yeah, Rams as well too, fighting for the division playoff game. What games on these slates really intrigue you guys this week?
Got a
Listen,
little money on
this
Miami missing the playoffs. I like to see Houston put them to sleep. Chargers coming off a loss. I think they gonna take care of the Bucks.
Mhm.
Buffalo Lions
And
might be the highest scoring game of the season.
Yeah.
yeah, I could see that. I do think that it's gonna be a little bit troublesome with that Lions run game and that Bills run defense.
Hmm.
If they can't get a bottle, a gun, Sonic and Knuckles as they call the guys, I don't see Josh Allen having many opportunities. He's gonna have to be damn near perfect on Sunday if that running game is going for the Lions. I guarantee that. Um, Seahawks, Green Bay, interesting. Eagles, Philly. I mean, it's full of football games. This is one of the better slates, I would say. The NFL, if it is a script in the NFL, they definitely cooked.
Okay.
Um, they definitely cooked. Panthers, kind of struggling, and then they find their rhythm. Cowboys kind of, trying to find their playoff berth against a struggling Panthers team who've been finding their rhythm a little lately, even though they lost. The Bengals get a chance to kind of right their wrongs again against the Tennessee Titans. A lot of good football on the slate, guys. Definitely tune in.
Yeah.
Then that for me, I'm more like I said, I'm more looking at that Miami Houston lineup because I need the Texans to put them boys to sleep. So I need them playoff dreams to die.
Right. what about you, Ethan? What games besides Chiefs and Browns will you have your eyes on?
I mean, obviously the Bills and Lions game, and then you got the Steelers and the Eagles game, just for playoff implications there,
Mhm.
seeding, and it'd be nice to see both of them take a L. So that's the two main ones. Bengals, if they lose, I mean they're all but done.
Mhm.
Dolphins, same thing. So I
If
mean,
if they lose and then we win, we clinched the 1 seed, right?
No, we have to
Not
win.
I think
yet.
we have to
Yeah.
win more.
Yeah, we have to win. We would have to beat the Texans as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
And then one more game is that Broncos and Colts game.
Mhm.
That's gonna be
Yeah,
a damn good game. I
I
can't
think
wait for that one.
yeah, that's gonna be a good one. I think the coach gonna pull that out.
yeah, that could be a potential battle for that seventh spot
Seven
that's
seed,
on the
yeah.
line. Right now, I know the Colts sit at 8, I believe. So they're on the outside, kind of looking in. So I know they'll be desperate going into that game. Another intriguing game, in my opinion, is the Sunday night game with Packers and Seahawks. Obviously, seeding purposes on the line for both of those teams. Seahawks trying to stave off the Niners, Rams, and the Cardinals, all in that vaunted NFC West right now. That thing is a mess right
Yes.
now. So Seahawks have a tough one on at home against the Packers. But I think everybody will be in tune to that Bills and Lions game. I think that's probably going to be the game of the week. Um, and I think it's a game. In my opinion, I got the Bills winning that game. I think Josh Allen puts on his MVP cape, somehow figures out a way to will them to a win. But
Better, because I'm
whether,
telling you, they can't stop that run.
yeah, I think that's what it's gonna take. I think you get a Herculean effort performance again, back to back weeks from Josh Allen. I think this is a game also that could kind of help him solidify that MVP race as well too, and kind of put some separation in between him and Saquon Barkley up until this point. So
He can win the
yeah,
MVP. I won. I know one
yeah,
guy.
he can have it. He can
Super
have it, in
Bowl.
my opinion. If that's what he
Super Bowl
wants. Go
MVP.
ahead,
Look at me
man.
when I'm talking to you. Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, man, we past been there, done that, been down that road before, so I know that's something that he's not, necessarily harping on at this point. It's all about getting those rings at the end of the year, and stacking onto that legacy. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, week 15, we're here, man. We appreciate
Hey,
everybody
you can call out
tuning
mine.
in. Oh, my bad, Corey. Go ahead. What games
Mine that I
intrigue
think
you?
is going to surprise everybody and be kind of a high scoring game is that Chargers Buccaneers game.
Oh yeah,
Buccaneers are getting
yeah.
healthy. You got Evans back. Chargers, their offense is starting to roll.
Mhm.
That one could be a really good game. But I've got one that I'm not gonna say it's gonna be an upset, but there's that one game every year where one of the best teams plays one of the worst teams in the league with
Mhm.
playoff implications on the line, and they either lose or make it way too damn close.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna say somehow the Giants find a way to make that game close in Baltimore. I'm not saying they're gonna win, but I think they'll make it uncomfortably close. There's always that one game a year where a team that should not win
I
somehow beats a playoff contender to knock them down.
You telling me Tommy Cutlets is gonna go
It's
up
not
against
cut.
Baltimore
It ain't
I mean,
colors.
and,
it's almost
It's
and,
the
like
and
the
give
KC.
them a game?
It's
it's
the
almost
KC
like
kid.
what's his name? Who's the guy with the beard that played quarter? Fitzpatrick. Somehow
Yeah.
made Fitzmagic in Miami and managed to beat a Buffalo team that should have
Yo, yeah.
dominated them.
Ryan Fitzpatrick was always one of them quarterbacks at the end of the year you definitely didn't want to see.
Yeah, he
It
was making it work.
felt like every end of the year he was always playing his best ball. But yeah, I mean, look, we've seen this script before from Baltimore, so
That's what I'm saying.
I
That's
I
my
expect them to take care of business, but it would not shock.
Miss Gina's gonna see that and think I'm trying to curse her.
Yeah, hopefully they go out there for their sake. They go out there and take care of business against a really bad Giants team. And that Giants team is bad. Man. They're
It's them teams with nothing to lose though.
Yeah. It's always tough going up against those guys, especially when you're playing, just simple pride and then the pride of New York,
It's
Tommy
like you.
Cullits.
It's like you're sitting there playing them, and you're on the other team, and you're like, "Come on, man, just let us win. You have no reason to win."
Right. We'll see what happens, man. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully Ravens flock, go in there and get a dub. But yeah, man, just don't drop that game because I think the Ravens right now sit at the 5 seed. I think if they were to drop that game, they could have potential to drop to the 6 seed. Which I honestly would like to see them as a 6 seed, just because I think that they could take care of some dirty work for us in the first round in the wild card if you're able to get the 1 seed. So yeah, yeah, man, appreciate y'all. Like I said, joining in and joining us tonight, man. We'll be back again Wednesday, same time, same place. Especially talk to y'all about Chiefs and Browns. Like I said, follow us, man, on Arrowhead AM and PM on Twitter. We run spaces Monday and Wednesday. I think we're gonna move to a new time now, which is 10:30. We're gonna try that out for a little bit, see how that works out, or whatever. We'll adjust this as we go. But you can always find this post game spaces as well, post pregame halftime spaces as well on Twitter or on X, as if you would like to call it. Find the podcast on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can find podcasts, Facebook, Twitter. Check us out, man. Check out the YouTube. Subscribe. Hit the like button. Comment, man. Leave us some comments. Let us know how we're doing or whatever. Any critiques, any way we can make this show better for you guys, because this is obviously for you guys as well too. We would love to hear your feedback. But for me, DG, Ethan, Trizzy, Corey, Arrowhead AM and PM, signing out, man. Appreciate y'all.
Cheese,
Love y'all,
baby.
man.
Let's go.
Cheese.
I put it all on my shoulders. Give 100 till it's over. I told you.